Hey, how y'all doing out there in YouTube land? This is Stiletto and Juno coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, today we're going to do the fidgeting knife video I was talking about doing when I got this one. The MSI from Microtech. And if Juno gets off the table, we'll get this one started. You gonna get off the table, kiddo? Everybody say hi? You say hi to everybody already? Huh? You're in the introduction this time. Mm-hmm. In the introduction. Okay, sweetie. Let's get off the table. Let's get this video started. It's going to be a fun one. Okay, up here on the table, these are my favorite fidgeters that I would put in the category of being like, I don't know, like a coil spring operated type crossbar lock or a mega spring operated type crossbar lock. I put all these knives in that same category. And the reason why I chose these two types of lock types or whatever, actually there's three because we got to include the ball bearing lock, but it's a coil spring operated lock. All these knives are coil spring operated. All the 80-20.5s, all the 80-20S models are coil spring operated. The Atlas lock is coil spring operated. The Spyderco, excuse me, people. The Spyderco Manix 2 XL. That one's coil spring operated. I should put this one over here with this one, huh? Okay. The newest one, the Microtech MSI. This one's coil spring operated also. These right here are all Omega spring operated. These SOGs right here, the XR lock from SOG, and also the Benchmades, the Axis lock, the OG, the original, the Axis lock. That's coil spring. I mean Omega spring operated also. Okay, sweetie, gotta get down, kiddo. You're just not gonna let me do the video, huh? You're just trying to take over. I know what you're up to. Oh, there you go. Okay, that's right. It's a Juno show, huh? It's the Juno show. Just because you're the master of the karambits, you just think you could take over everything, huh? That's right. Well, that's right. I don't have a red sash like you do. That's right. You got the red sash. You got that right. Okay, I've given you your props there, kiddo. You gonna let me do the video? Huh? Huh, Master Juno? Okay, sweetie. And I brought these out here because these were like some of the first ones that really got me into it. Well, actually, no. Actually, I can't say that because these were the first ones that got me into it. Were the Benchmade Axis locks, but I sort of was like into it, and then I was like out of it because I sort of got into the triads because these were out before the triad lock. And I used to have one of these. It was an AFCK 805 or something. I can't remember the number exactly, but it had an Axis lock, and it was an AFCK from Benchmade. Black class. And Benchmades were like my first loves for these types of locks. To me, this one in particular, the Contigo, this is a modified Contigo. It has modified scales on it. And it was also a KnifeWorks exclusive. It's the M390 Contigo. It's not the M4, it's the M390. And it doesn't have a glass breaker in the back. That's how KnifeWorks exclusive came. The only thing that's modified on this one is the scales. This one was heavily carried. It was one of my ones I heavily carried. I have another one of these that's a KnifeWorks exclusive also that's totally stock. I never modified and I never carried. This one I carried a lot. Absolutely love it. And to me, it's out of all these knives, it's the one that's closest to the new Microtech. It feels a lot like the Microtech in my hand. This one's heavier though. This one weighs like, you know, a lot more than the Microtech. This one's under 5 ounces. This one's like 7 something or something like that. But the shape of the handle is very similar. The where the thumb stud groove or the slot groove is pretty much the same. They both have thick blades. This one's 4 millimeters. I think this one's 4 millimeters also, or 3.8 or something like that. But they feel a lot alike, and where you actuate the lock is in the same area. Even though this one is a Omega spring lock, it uses Omega spring on each side of the handle. It has 2 Omega springs. And this uses a single coil spring that comes back here. This is a stronger setup. The coil spring will, you know, definitely, even though this one's never had, these are the original Omega springs that came with this knife, and I've had this knife for years, and I've carried it for years. But I greased the Omega springs with lithium-based Militech 1 gun grease. I think that helps preserve the Omega springs. But this one, you know, operates just like it did when it was brand new. This one, I've been carrying it since I've had it for almost a week now. Tomorrow will be a week. Today's Sunday. Sunday the 19th. Absolutely love this one, people. Absolutely love this one. I'm gonna have to say it's my number 2. Number 2 behind, you know what? I'm not gonna say and give you any names, but you know which one. This one was previously number 2. I think this one's bumped that one. This one is like super easy to operate. Now, I'm not talking about as far as like strength is concerned, people. I'm not talking about like anything like that. Because I know this one's probably a lot stronger lock type or whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about fidgetability and how fun it is to fidget with. And how easy it is to fidget with. This one's real easy to fidget with too, but it's just the placement of this, the way you operate this one, that makes this one nicer. And the same thing goes for, you know, like the shark lock. The shark, it's just the placement of where the lock is that makes it nicer and easier to operate. As opposed to like the Atlas lock. The Atlas lock is it's an easy operating back lock, but it's not easy operating like the lock was if you're operating it from up here or whatever, where you got better grip on the knife. This one just feels a little bit, it's a great fidgeter, but it's just where the lock is, and that you have to put your hand further back. It's just a little bit on the awkward side, should I say. This one is perfect. This one is perfect. The only thing that can make this one better to me, it needs titanium scales or aluminum scales or something. I want metal scales on this one. I want titanium or at least aluminum over the polymer. The polymer feels really good because it's really light. It's really lightweight, and it still feels like a very strong knife. I'm not knocking the polymer or whatever. It's just I'm not a polymer person, people. I'm sorry. All my knives here, these are all my favorite knives. None of them are polymer. This one's the closest one to it, with the carbon fiber elite. But all the rest are either G10, micarta, or aluminum, or titanium, and carbon fiber. But this is the only one that's polymer. But you know what? It's still number 2 though, because the action on it is just awesome. This is an awesome knife. It's perfectly centered. It's never been adjusted. It's never come loose. The blade is still, after a week, it's still solid as a rock after being opened and closed a billion times and played with and used at work and used as a cutting tool and used as a fidgeting toy. I shouldn't say toy. For fidgeting practice. But this is an awesome knife, people. All I can say is I put another one on order. And went back to Blade HQ and they're gone. Well, they still have this one. They still have this one. You can still get this one at Blade HQ. But I was trying to get the apocalyptic one with the apocalyptic stonewash finish. And I don't know what the difference is, but that's, it's only like $1 more or $2 more at Blade HQ. At Knife Center, it's $1 more. And so I ended up getting one on pre-order at Knife Center because they were out of them at Blade HQ. Now, I didn't want to just get another one of these. I just want to get the other one so I can compare it. This man won't like it better or anything like that. I just want to see what the difference is. Make a video of it. But I'm getting the ones with the polymer handles. I'm gonna tell you why. Because I know I've talked to Original Goat, and they're in the works of making some titanium scales for these. And these are exact same knives as the high-end ones with the carbon fiber handles or the G10 handles. They're exactly the same. They all have titanium back spacers. They all have the M390 MK stainless steel blades. And all the other parts and everything else are all identical. The only thing that's different are the scales. And actually, the polymer scales are actually pretty nice if you want a lightweight knife. That's gonna be the way you get the lightest weight knife is to get the polymer scales. Polymer is even lighter than carbon fiber. So this knife weighs. Let me show you what this one weighs real quick. I have to get down, Juju. Gotta get down, sweetie. Gotta get down, kiddo. But let me show you what this one weighs real quick. Because I heard one person say you had a carbon fiber one that was all blacked out, and it was like, oh, watch the claws there, kiddo. Watch the claws. These pants are thinner. The claws get all the way through them. Okay, here we go. 4.7 ounces, people. 4.7 ounces. So you're not going to get a lighter one of these. But this if you want one to be lightweight, because it's still strong, because it has stainless steel liners all throughout it. And so it's still a strong knife. It's not dependent on the handle scales for the strength of the knife. And so it's still an excellently made knife or whatever. I'm gonna have one being polymer, and the other one's gonna be the other one I get. I'll probably leave this one as a polymer knife, and probably take the apocalyptic one, and not use that one, and turn that one to the titanium knife when they make the titanium scales. That's sort of like my plan, because I want titanium scales. And if they make aluminum scales, I might get aluminum scales for this one, because I'd rather have aluminum scales. Because you know me, people, I love my aluminum scales. I got lots of knives with aluminum scales. But anyway, let's get on to talking about these. But to me, these are the ones that are most alike. And when I say that, it has to do with the handle shape and the way that you actuate the locking mechanism on either one of them, the axis lock or the RAM-LOK. And they pretty much function the exact same way. The RAM-LOK, because this piece is bigger and it's easier to grab a hold of, is a lot easier to use. And because this knife is a lot lighter than this one weighs, let's see what the Contigo weighs. The Contigo's always been one of my favorite Benchmates of all time. 6 ounces. So that's not that heavy. It's only 6 ounces. I was thinking it was 7. It's only 6. It feels like 7 compared to this one. This has always been like one of my favorite knives too. It has a lot of scratches and stuff like that. You know, if you look close at it, you can see it. It needs to be repolished and redone. I absolutely love these too. But those locks to me are, and the way that they operate are pretty much the same. This is my other favorite Benchmade. This is a Sock P. $391 BK. Sock P with the axis lock. These originally came with, I think, a liner lock. I didn't want the liner lock one. I like this one. This one has carbon fiber elite handles. It's also a Benchmade black class. Full stainless steel line. I like it. You know why I like it, people? It's a Stiletto. It's a Stiletto. Okay, next up. Next up are the ones that, you know, that I really, really love. And this is my Manix 2 XL. This is the first one I had. It's been all modified with bladescales.com blade scales. These are the Micarta blade scales, the OD green ones. This is the black DLC. S30V Manix 2 XL from when they first came out. It's an old one. It has a fly titanium ball cage in it. And it also has a backspacer off of SD. It's an aluminum backspacer. It's one of my favorite knives, though. Favorite knives of all time. Absolutely love it. It was the first one. I have 4 Manix 2 XLs. This is my favorite one that has, well, it's actually the only one I carry that has S30V. The other S30V one I have is all blacked out. I bought 2 of these, and one never got used. One's brand new. And I got 2 of these. These are 2 crew wares from Knife Center exclusives. And this is the one that I carry. The other one's totally stock. It's never been used. This one I totally polished all the way out and put natural JG10 scales on it from bladescales.com. These blade scales are awesome too because they're only like $50 and $60, people. They're not expensive. And it's an American company. But this one's all been all polished. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Love the ball bearing lock from Spyderco. These knives also are made in the United States. Both of these knives, all of these knives are made in the United States. All 3 of these. These are made in Taiwan. Next up, the SOG Pentagon. This is my first SOG pen. Well, actually my second one. It's the one that SOG sent to me because the first 2 I bought were defective. I've sent them both back when they very first came out. And what the defect was is that the blade was hitting the backspacer. And so I sent them back. SOG had me send them back to them, and then they replaced them. And this is one of the ones that they replaced. Put my name on it. G10 handles. I absolutely love the Pentagon. This is a knife that made me start liking SOGs. The Pentagons were my first SOGs. I just want to show you that this is a real fidgeter. And what's cool about this one is that, you know, like all these knives, to me, really good fidgeters, you don't even need to touch the blade. A real good fidgeting knife should be one that you can do like this with. You don't even have to touch the blade. Your hand's not even in the way. I can do this with all these knives that are on this table. I hardly ever even use the thumb studs, or this one has a flipper also. Flippers, you know, really easy to use. It's just not as fast. It's faster to use just use the locking mechanism. But anyway, that was my second Pentagon. The when the SOG came from SOG Company. Before they sold to GSM. This one was purchased after GSM, I think it was. Same thing. Exactly the same. So I don't think that they changed their factory or anything like they did, just like they did with Cold Steel. I think it's all the same factory. But these are another knife that's really easy to carry. Doesn't weigh that much. Only weighs like 4.8 ounces or 4.9 ounces. And it's real fun. It's got the flipper. It's got the XR lock. I've never broken an Omega spring in any of these. And all the way up to the SOG seal. The SOG seal is an excellent knife too if you like heavy knives. And speaking of heavy knives, this is a little 3-inch blade knife. The SOG Kiku. I absolutely love this one. This is like one of my favorite 3-inch blade knives. All these knives have CTS XHP. This is CTS XHP also. They all have full stainless steel liners. And this one has micarta handle scales. The others are G10. It's like the small version of the SOG seal. It's meant to be more of a tactical knife. Well, you know, these are tactical too, though, but this is meant to be more like a heavy-duty tactical folder. Got real thick blade stock. I want to say it's like a 4mm, maybe a little bit thicker. Can't remember exactly. I know it's real thick. The back spacer's even jumped. It's a beautiful knife. Absolutely love it. Next up. After this one, we get into the masters. What I call the master class, the Demko Shark Lock class. It's in a class of its own. I absolutely love the Atlas Lock too. And I'm going to be making one of these coming up real soon when the scales get here from Original Goat. Got a scale kit coming for one of these. It's not going to be this one. It's going to be the ink. We call it. It's called a light. I can't remember if it's called an Engage light. Oh no, it's just a regular Engage. It's Engage like this. What am I thinking? It has G10 handle scales also. I was thinking it had Grivery handle scales. No, it has G10 handle scales. The only difference between it is that the other one is totally stock. This one's been polished. And I want to do a totally stock one. And let this one be the polished one. But these are a lot of fun too. A lot of fun too. But like I said, it's a little bit, it's a little bit different, but it also feels like a little bit heavier duty knife than a lot of these other knives too. So, if you want a heavier duty knife, one that's more closer to like an 80-10 or something in that class, then, I would say, go with this one. But I still wouldn't baton with it, people. Don't baton with it. I wouldn't baton with any of these knives. Not even the Shark Lock knives. Even though I know that Shark Lock is probably, going to be a really tough knock. And I also know that Atlas Lock, I've seen people baton with these before. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. All right, next up. We'll start up here. Because this is one of the first ones I did. I got this knife off of eBay. And it had Grivery handle scales. I can't remember what color they were. I want to say that they might have been yellow, or they might have been gray. I can't remember. They were either gray, yellow, or blue. Because all the ones I changed the handles on, those are the Grivery's handle scales I know I have left. I can't remember exactly which one had what though. Sorry about that, people. It's been a while. You go look at the old videos of these and you'll find out. But this one's got the OG goat scales on it. It's like the first one that I really modified. And it's like the first one I carried a lot. It's got the D2 blade. All the ones I've carried, all the D2 ones. My other ones, I decided not to carry them because it's just like worth too much. So and all of these, all the D2 ones, I bought used. I bought all 4 of these. I bought used in between $200 and $300. I think one of them might have been $305. I think one of them was $305, if I'm not mistaken. One was $305. But this one right here was $205. This one was like $250, $255 or something like that. But there were all knives that had like like issues that had to be repaired on them. And so, that's the reason why they were selling real cheap and nobody was buying them. Everybody's buying the ones that were perfect and brand new, brand new conditions. Me people, I'll buy things, if the blade, because when I look at them, if I see that the blade is perfect, and just had some, Mars on the handle scales or whatever, and they're Grivery handle scales I'm not even going to use anyway, I don't care. I don't care if the scales are messed up. So I'm going to replace the scales anyway, right? And same thing went for this one. This one had orange G10 scales that were all messed up. They had like paint on them and stuff like that because I think the guy was probably a carpenter. And had little light scars on the blade, not deep scars, but I could tell they were like light scars, like scratches. And so that's the reason why I polished everything all the way out. And I was able to get this one, real inexpensively too. And this is my favorite one. It's the one that needed the most work. Well, this one needed a lot of work too, though, because it had up and down blade play. And this one had yellow. This is the one that had the yellow scales on it. It had the yellow Grivery scales. And I got it for like a little bit over $200, just like $225 or something like that. But when I received it, it was, the edge is perfect. The edge had been sharpened by Apostle P. And there are no scratches or anything on the blade. But it had up and down blade play. And so I let John Demko know about it. I contacted him through the Demko website. We were emailing and texting each other back and forth and stuff. And so he told me to send it to him. And so I sent it to him, and he found out that the shark bar or whatever had a dent in it. And he said that that either the person had did something where they had put a whole lot of pressure on the shark bar. Maybe they were like weight hanging on it or something. I don't know if they were doing something, but it had deformed the shark bar. And so he replaced the shark bar and made sure everything else fitted perfectly and everything like that. It's been perfect ever since. It's like a brand new knife. Oh, and he put the orange G10 scales on it because I asked him if he had orange G10 scales. Either orange or natural JG10. At that time, he had some orange G10 scales. John Demko is the one that makes the scales for the Demko 8020s or the Demko knives, should I say, the ones that are made in-house. This is the master class, master fidgeters. Master fidgeters. These are the masters. And they're balanced perfectly. So they're fun to manipulate in your hand, do all sorts of stuff with. These are awesome knives. And I know they're not cheap, people. I know they're not cheap, but sometimes the best cost more than the others. I like them with the Lynch Northwest titanium pocket clips, deep carry pocket clips. All of mine got Lynch Northwest pocket clips. Any custom parts that you see on them will be, here goes a custom, these are all original goat parts for the back spacers, and on this one it has fly titanium brass thumb studs and fly titanium G10 purple G10 scales. This is a purple rain knife. This is my purple rain Demko folder. It's Prince. It's shorter than an 8020S, so it's Prince. Prince was short. Short and fancy. And purple. So this is Prince. This is Prince. That's Purple Rain. This one right here is Purple Haze. Jimi Hendrix was tall. This is Purple Haze. I love my purple blades, people. I love my purple folders. I love my orange ones too. I love my Cheeto orange ones. And I love Natural JG10. This one has the original Goat V-Groove aluminum backspacer on it. The scales are were all the scales on all the 8020S except for this one, the aluminum one. These were all purchased from the Demko website, from John Demko. My 3 favorite color of scales, and I my aluminums. Absolutely love them. This one had blue Grivery handles on it, if I remember right. Blue Grivery handles. And this is one I got for like a little bit over $200 too. I think it was $205. That was when these first came out, people. Not recently. I've had these knives for a long time now, for like 3 or 4 years now, going on 4 years. Some are like, you know, from 2 to, this one I got this year. I think this one was like this year. And this one was last year. This one was the year before, and this one was the year before. I think that's when I first started getting these, maybe 3 years ago. And these I've had these for like 4 years. This was the very first one. This is my very first Demko knife. The very first. I never modified it. It has the original steel bearings in it. It's all original. And I carried the mess out of this knife. I never changed it because it's the first one. Since then, I've had lots of 80-20.5s, people. I don't even know how many 80-20.5s I have. I just brought out some of my favorite ones that I carried. This is the titanium one I carried. This is a 3V blade, if I remember right. Yeah, 3V. 3V blade. When they first came out, put the Lynch Northwest pocket clip on it so I can carry it the way I like to carry them. And after that, I decided I wanted to keep them light, and so I went back to doing light stuff. These are the carbon fiber Demko scales from the Demko website. I got them actually. I think I got them on the Knife Center website. They're Demko scales, carbon fiber Demko scales. Excuse me. This is an Oz 10A. Oz 10A. And you know what? Between these two, I think these are even the master of the master. Because these things, you can manipulate them super fast. They're like, I don't know. And they're super lightweight, super easy to carry, super, great if you work in an office even, or whatever, it's a great knife to have. And this is the JG10, and this one's a Oz 10A also. These are Demko scales, John Demko scales. Next one's West pocket clip. Absolutely love them, people. And Purple Rain. Purple Rain. There they are, people. These are the knives that I would call master fidgeters that fall into the category of crossbar-lock style lock knives. And these are all knives that I have carried and carried extensively. This one I carried for about 6 months straight when I first got it. I've been through 2 Omega. This is the only knife I've ever broken Omega springs on. I broke 2 Omega springs on this one. Not at the same time though. They broke individually and the knife still operated. So I always hear about people saying they don't want to get one of these because they're afraid Omega spring's going to break. Well, you got to remember there's 2 Omega springs on here, and they don't break it. They don't both break at the same time. So the knife will still operate. It just doesn't operate as good, but it operates. And this is an awesome knife. But it doesn't meet my new safety standards, where if the knife was to fold, you would get cut if this lock was to give out. But you know what? These axis locks, these Benchmade axis locks, all of them, you know, except for maybe a couple different models, have all been proven to be like really strong. I mean, like being able to hold, like, you know, like the bed lamp that the Demko went up against the what was it, the Espada? No, it went up against the oh man, my favorite knife, the Talwar. It went up against the 4-inch blade Talwar, and the Talwar beat it out, of course. You know, we expect that, but it went all the way up to like 398 pounds or 300 and something, 95 pounds or something like that. So it held a whole lot of weight, and that was the bed lamp, you know, which is like, you know, knife built pretty much like this, only the blade stock was thinner. So this might even hold more, but the axis lock is known to be really strong too. But where the axis lock has a weakness, though, is that sometimes if you hit the pommel, well, this one's good. But a lot of times you hit the pommel though, and the lock will bounce, and it'll bounce down, and then the knife will close. So I don't recommend ever holding an axis lock folder and then, you know, having to hit something with the pommel while you're holding it with the blade extended, because that might cause the blade to fold in on your hand. So that's the one safety tip I have for that. And that would go for any of these kind of locks. Any of these kind of locks where, you know, it can bounce back. Whereas like the shark lock has a safety thing built into it, because the shark lock, for it to work, you have to lift it up and then back. And you have to lift it further. So it tends to be safe from, you know, the pommel smack. You don't have to worry about it on a shark lock, because it has to be lifted up. Whereas like all these other knives, the lock just goes straight back, and there's nothing to make it go up, or, you know, like a little deterrent to keep it from accidentally coming unlocked. So, you know, John Demko, he's the master of knife lock making. So I would expect John Demko to put a little safety feature in his locks like that, because he's tested everybody else's locks, and he knows what makes them fail. And, you know, it's a matter, you know, just, you know, learning from experience, you know, and he has experience testing other people's locks. And if you really want to make a super strong lock, that's probably what you got to do. You know, if you want to be a super great athlete, you got to study all the other athletes that you got to compete against. You know what I'm saying? And try to outdo whatever they do. But, you know, that's just the way it sort of rolls. But these are all master fidgeters. I highly recommend all of these. I think these are all some of the best ones that you can get. All of these knives I have opened and closed millions of times, people. Millions of times, and these knives don't fall apart. Lots of knives from my type of use will fall apart. The blades will start coming loose all the time, or you start developing up and down blade play. You know, the side to side doesn't mean anything, because you just tighten up the pivot, but you start to, you know, lots of times the screws and the pivots will come loose all the time, or the blades eventually start they don't self-adjust as they wear, and then you start developing up and down blade play. I don't want to go on all the different brands that, you know, I've that experience with, because I don't want to put down anybody else's products. You know, that's not what I'm all about. But I'll let you know if I say something is a really good fidgeting knife and they can handle my kind of abuse. That means it can handle being open and closed a lot. The only one out of these knives that has developed any kind of up and down blade play is this one, the Atlas lock, and it's just a little tiny bit. And I noticed that if I push on the lock bar, push it forward, there's no blade play anymore, no up and down blade play. So what I know it is that the spring is starting to wear out. The coil spring that rides inside of this lock bar, it's not exposed like this one. It's hidden. So it's inside this lock bar. I know it's starting to wear out. It's not the lock bar itself. It's not the lock face or the blade face or anything wrong with any of the stop pins or anything like that, or any of the pins. It's just that the spring is wearing out. I've done that before on these two. These two I've worn out the because I carry these two a whole lot, and on both of them I wore out the springs on them, and I just bought more springs because Demko sells you more springs. Demko knives, you can buy more springs for these. So if you wear out the springs, you can replace the springs in these. It's no big deal. You get like 5 of them for $8 or something like that. They're not even expensive. And they last forever. So, but I would highly recommend if you're a person that really likes to fidget, Shark Lock, people. Nothing's better than a Shark Lock with some skiff bearings. All these knives, except for this one. This one's the only one that's not modified. But all these Demko knives all have the skiff bearings in them. All of them have the Lynch Northwest pocket clips. And if they have any custom parts, that either came from, this one Fly Titanium, we call Original Goat, or Lynch Northwest. Skiff bearings. So that's where all the parts came from these. Like this, the polishing was done by me. Anytime you see any kind of polishing or whatever, it's always done by me. That's it for these, people. These are the ones I recommend for fidgeters. If you want really good fidget knives, all these knives will do it. Peace out. Stiletto.